This is a VT GTS. These are very rare, and before I had filmed this video, I had never actually seen one of these in person. There was only 399 of these ever made, and 136 in automatic, which is what this one is. This one is build number 69. These were a bit different than a normal VT Club Sport or any of the other, VT HSVs. These, like the other GTSs that I've had on the channel, like the VR and the VS, these have the 5.7 litre stroked Holden 5 litre Harrop, and here it is making 220 kilowatts. And at the time when this was released, it was the fastest HSV ever. However, obviously that did not last very long, because as soon as the LS1 came out in the Series 2, it absolutely run through this car. But that doesn't matter, because this is still a significant part in the Holden story. If you're not familiar with these cars, this was the very last of the Australian built V8s, the very last one that you could ever get in a HSV. And because of that, these are very desirable cars now. They are very rare, and they command quite a dollar. So it is pretty cool to see one in person. Like the other VR VS GTSs that I've had on the channel, these do have some big stickered side decals that look great. They really do look fantastic, and it really separates this car from even just a normal Club Sport. And if we jump around the back here, I actually really like it because it's not in your face here. There is just the simple GTS logo, the HSV sort of thing up here, but other than that, it's just normal Series 1 HSV VT. It's really cool, this car. I really like it. Darky blue colour, great colour in the VTs, very desirable car. Jeremy Clarkson actually talked about this car in Top Gear when it came out, and sort of compared it to their, European versions, the Vauxhall Omega and the Carlton as well. And look, be honest, I'm not familiar with those cars other than the fact that they're the, UK versions of these cars. But it is interesting because these are the first ones that started getting, sort of significant international attention, and especially by someone as prominent as Jeremy Clarkson. Just really cool for someone with such a high profile to be talking about the old Iron Lion. Just before I filmed this video, I did watch Richard Hammond's review of the VT GTS. Now, he had the 5.7 litre, but he did talk about the styling, which is, very, very similar to this car, and he said it was anything but subtle. And I do kind of agree with him. It is not subtle. It is very in your face. It looks very different than a normal VT Commodore. All this body kit, which is exclusive to this car. The HSV body kit, the side skirts, the spoiler. It's just great. It really is. But if we're talking about in your face, let's have a look at the interior, because that is wild. You're definitely not going to forget it's a GTS. As I mentioned before, HSV is not going to let you forget that it's a GTS in here. There is GTS writing everywhere, all over the seats, all over the door cars, and the seats are fantastic. They are very, very hugging, and they really hold you in place, which seems to be a theme with the GTSs. I'm lucky enough that I got to drive a VR and a VS GTS, and I feel the exact same. They really, really hug you and keep you still for all of that 220 kilowatts. Other than that though, we have this leather wrapped steering wheel, which is the sort of same one that you get in an SS, but this one has the HSV horn pad, our GTS badge on the fascia here, and our HSV badge down on the dash there. We also have our HSV branded pedals, but it's a very, very nice place to be. One thing that has surprised me in this interior though is this one particular one has been optioned as a smoker's pack, which is really interesting. So there is an extra cigarette lighter here, and there is an ashtray which sort of started to be phased out when this car was new. Kind of surprising to me actually that a HSV has that, but it does. And it's also worth mentioning the owner still has the factory radio. He just took it out because this is a bit of a weekender, family car, that kind of thing. And he wanted to have some Bluetooth and all that, and it works great. You might notice this car is not absolutely perfect, but that's okay because it has been enjoyed as many of these cars are. And I don't think that takes away from it at all, because it is very clearly still looked after. It's not being abused. It's standard height. The only modification this entire car has, other than the radio, is an exhaust, which I completely understand, especially being the Holden 5 litre. It's one of its best traits, the noise. Anyway, let's pop the bonnet, have a look, and I'll quickly show you what's under the bonnet, and then we'll take it for a drive. Now, if you're overseas and you're not familiar with these motors, this is the Holden 5 litre now. There is some version of this motor, admittedly slightly different, in lots of cars from the 70s and 80s. Yes, the motor was slightly different. Obviously, it didn't have fuel injection, but this was the very last car that these ever came with. And so it is a bit of a unique car because it is old car running gear in a new shell. While these do make pretty good power and torque, these are in a pretty heavy car, so don't expect massive performance out of the old VT GTS, 0 to 100 in around 6 seconds. But you know what? It sounds tough as old nails, and they're pretty good motors. They're really reliable. They're stout. So yeah, the main thing about these motors is definitely the sound. But just for the GTS models, these normal old Holden 5 litres were taken to Harrop, and these ones were stroked to 5.7 litres. All right, look, it's no LS1, but it is plenty fun enough. It really is. You know, it's not super fast, but no 5 litres are. You also might notice it is the one imperfection with this car is the headlining. I'm only mentioning it because it is getting fixed very soon. It's one of the very common things with these cars. Obviously not the GTSs, but all of them. But even as I'm just adjusting this, but just looking at myself in the camera here, I just see how good the interior looks. Those seats, they look absolutely fantastic. I really do love the interior. It's a real highlight of this car. One thing that's funny is, as well though, driving a lot of the HSVs is the body kit. I'm always scared of the body kit scraping and hitting stuff, but what are you going to do? Because this car is standard, other than, you know, it's a little bit louder, it's just so comfy to drive. The suspension is definitely firmer than a stock Calais. Probably my best comparison to this car is my own VT 5 litre Calais. The suspension in this car is a little bit firmer, but I don't know whether that's just me or what that is, but that's okay. I mean, that's what it's meant to be. This is meant to be you know, a sports car, sports sedan. It is very cool. It drives surprisingly different than my VT. Yeah, I'm quite surprised at how different it drives. But again, it's such a cool car, and I'm really lucky that I got to experience it. It's a great car, it's a great piece of history, and I really do think that these will be proper collectible. Any GTS really, but particularly the ones with the Holden 8s. Very, very cool cars, and if you ever get the chance to drive one, definitely do it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Something a little bit newer than the older cars that I've been having on, and really has been a real treat for me to try something this new exciting, the old VT GTS. Very cool, very quite rare car that without this channel, I definitely would not have had the experience of driving one of these. Like I said in the video, it's not going to tear the house down, but it is still a very cool piece of Australian history, and an honour to drive something like this and spend some time with it. So thank you, Dan, for lending me the car. I really do appreciate it. If you guys would like your car on the channel, then please feel free to get in touch. Otherwise, like, subscribe, comment, all that. And thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it.